some reactions. Show some reactions if you know you're excited to learn from her today. Uh, Miss Tracy, if you're on the call, please kindly acknowledge that you're on the call before we get started.
Yes,
Okay.
please, I'm on
Okay,
call.
she's on the call.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So I don't want to take much of your time. I know you have a lot that you want to share with us today. All right. So I'm going to be passing on the baton to you. You have the floor and you have the mic. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jake. Kindly give me a minute to share my screen. But while we do that, I would want to hear from a few people on the call what are your specifications? What in real estate particularly do you do? Okay, my screen is here. Anybody, even one person is good. Anybody? Okay, no one to go. That's not a good sign. But all right, good evening, everybody. Good evening from Ghana to everybody on call. My name is TRACY ASAMOAH, and I know they have just read a hearty introduction to me, but in a few words, I'm a storyteller, a corporate event host, I'm a lover of God, I'm a Jesus girl, and I am an eternal learner. I love to learn at every point in my life. And today we are going to be having a conversation on authority branding and strategic positioning for high value realtors. Is there anybody on this call that has heard about branding and positioning? If yes, what have you heard?
Yes, we can unmute and speak if you want to speak, or you can type in the comment section. Um, Mr. Jake, are you there?
Oh yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm trying to also get engaged. I'm trying to type in. Since nobody wants to share, let me share. Maybe she could just use me as the as the case study today and change my life.
Okay, Jake, share with us. What have you heard?
Oh yeah, so I've heard about branding, right? And what we're popular with is branding is how you put yourself out there, or basically the unique way you put yourself out there. I don't know if that's accurate.
Yes, that is very succinct and correct for that matter. So branding is the unique way in which you put yourself out there. And in this session, we are going to be learning about branding, yes, but then we'll move beyond just the basic understanding of company and personal branding into authority branding. We are going to be learning about what authority branding is and how it translates to the real estate space, especially for us within the industry. And then we'll also be learning about strategic positioning. As you have learned about authority branding, how do you position yourself strategically to set yourself apart in the real estate space? And then after that, we are going to be talking about how we can grow the authority brands that we have. We don't want just to have authority brands in our various spaces, but we want to make sure that we are building authority brands that respond to the particular changes within the real estate space and within the branding and communication space as well. So those are the four major things that we are going to be talking about. Now, just as Jake said earlier on, branding is how people see and perceive you. Whether or not you are intentional, everybody has a personal brand. So, your personal brand is how people see you and how people perceive you. Before we go on to authority branding, I want you to look at these people. When you see Vusit and Bakwayo, what comes to your mind? Anybody on?
Business, 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 business coach.
Business coach, that's true. Anybody else?
International speaker.
International speaker, that's right. Okay, let's move on from Vusi to Chef Abis. Chef Abis is a Ghanaian. Vusi is a South African. Chef Abis is a Ghanaian. When you see Chef Abis, what comes to your mind?
Food, of course.
Food, yes, 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 food. Food comes to mind when you see Chef Abis. Particularly in Ghana, we have something we call that the same. That the same. So whenever you see Chef Abis, that the same comes to your mind. And then finally, when you see Tunde, Tunde is a Nigerian, so I'm sure the Nigerians on course should help us easily. When you see Tunde, what comes to mind?
Chess.
Chess,
Yes,
perfect.
master.
Chess master. When you see Tunde, now you realize how easily we were able to identify the things that these three individuals do because they have built a certain brand for themselves. They have built a certain personal brand. So whenever we see their pictures, we perceive something of them. And that is what personal branding is. But authority branding goes beyond personal branding. Authority branding is being intentional about how people see you and making them recognize you as the right person and the most credible person in the market. Now, if we speak about public speak, when we talk about public speaking, business, pitching, investment, and somebody mentions Vusi, you say, yes, that guy is the guy for the job because he has built himself to be an authority in the market of public speaking. When we talk about chess, you realize that somebody mentioned chess master because Vusi has set himself apart in the game of chess. So he has an authority brand in chess. He has an authority brand in Nigeria as a chess master, in international fields as a chess master. And that is what authority branding is about. It's being recognized by the right people, emphasis on the right people, as the most credible person for the job in the market. Now, when we talk about the real estate space, authority branding will be the strategic and deliberate way. Keywords here are strategic and deliberate way of making your expertise or brand visible, valuable, and undeniable. Nobody can stand anywhere and say that Tunde is not the chess master. Is there anyone that can do that on this call? Can anyone challenge Tunde when it comes to chess? Maybe we might have to invite Tunde one day to Blockchain Academy. But Jake would agree with me that Tunde is the chess master, and very few people, and very few people can challenge him when it comes. Ah, I like the energy in this room. Somebody said they can challenge Tunde when it comes to chess. Okay, we have to bring him here so that you challenge him. I like that energy. Okay, continuing, when it comes to authority branding, it is lying on a concept that we call reputation economics. The real estate space thrives on relationships because it's a high decision stake industry. People are putting money in there, people are putting risk to make investment within the space. So the real estate space bases on reputation economics, where your contributions, your reliability, and your trustworthiness is tracked and depended upon within your industry. I may be a real estate expert in a particular area, such as luxury real estate, but where I don't have a reputation that matches up to what I say I am, nobody is going to trust me enough to say this person is an authority in the space, which is why it is very important to build an authority brand such that you can have the benefits of the reputation economics. And generally, people like to trust people who present themselves as experts. Would you go to a doctor if you didn't know he was good in his job? Can I have some response in the house? No. Justina, Lucy says no. Exactly. So before you go to a doctor, you know that this doctor knows the human body, he understands the human body, and he can find the problem that you have within the human body. And that is how authority branding makes you within the real estate space. Simply the market knowing that you know your onions. You know the very kind of things that you are doing. If it's property, you know the property you're dealing with. If it's investment, you know the investment that you are dealing with. If it's about insights, you know the insights that you are dealing with. Now, we've already spoken about the three people when we're explaining branding, but moving out of those three people, we have three levels of influence within the real estate space. There are three people that run around in the real estate space, particularly when it comes to realtors and issues that deals with letting and sales of property. Now, the first set of people are transactional people. These people normally focus on listings, they focus on commissions, and they focus on property features. And in the market, they are perceived as salespeople. So you find a real estate professional who works very hard, but the only thing that they do is, I have a property located in Dubai. It has high features, it has a swimming pool, it is located in a premium space, it is attractive, the neighborhood is peaceful, and you have a good set of tenants within this neighborhood. This person is also focusing on listing the particular property on various listing websites. The person is focused on getting his commissions because man must eat. But as you dey search food, where you dey chop? Now the Nigerian in me is coming out. The Nigerians are influencing me. As you are searching food to eat, you must know that within the market, you are seen as a salesperson only because you are talking about property features, you are talking about listings, you are focusing on your commissions. But those people can progress into a second set that we call trusted advisors in the market. These people understand the property market, they understand what is happening within the property market. They understand estate valuation, they understand legal compliance, they understand documentation when it comes to the space. So they are not just giving you property features or they are not just listing properties on listing sites. They are also making sure that they have a good understanding of market insights, a good understanding of the sales process of properties and land. And these people are mostly perceived as consultants. So they know what they are doing and they can give you expert guidance on what they are doing. And that is where most real estate professionals stay. They understand they are seen as consultants and they stay there because they get their commissions, they get their money, they get a network. But there is a third level of influence in the real estate space, which we are going to get into, and which hopefully by the end of this session, every single person on the call would be at. And this particular person is who we call a market authority. Now, this market authority goes beyond listing properties, it goes beyond giving you property insights, it goes beyond the sales process and analyze global and national trends within the real estate space. Now, there's an ongoing misunderstanding, or should I call a nuclear war between US, Israel, and then Iran. And Iran is attacking US bases in most Middle East countries because they are trying to protect themselves. If you are a real estate expert and you understand the impact of this particular nuclear war on the real estate market, you will be able to speak about it to other people within the real estate space. And people will start recognizing you as an authority in analyzing global trends as it relates to real estate. If there's a nuclear war, anybody at all can come and talk about the impact on economics. Anybody at all can come and talk about the geopolitical effect that it presents to us. But as a real estate expert, can you tell us how this is affecting our market? Can you predict the fluctuations that will come in our market and report on them? And can you influence long term investor decisions with the insights that you have? And that is where we are supposed to be as real estate professionals, to be a market authority within the space. Now, quietly, I want you to ask yourself, where are you right now? Which of these three levels are you in? Is somebody willing to offer an answer? No one.
I think I'm well working my way to market authority.
That's very good. That's very good. I think he deserves a round of applause. Anybody else to share with us?
And let's remember that if you know you can't speak, you can always drop your answers in the comment section. So Victor
Okay,
said position for market authority.
that's
Wow.
excellent. I love this room already. Now, if you're unable to type what you have to say, you should be thinking about it while we go through the session. Now, for all these three individuals, they are placed in certain parts in the real estate space based on what they do. But it is not just about what you do and the knowledge that you have. There's a story told of a particular realtor who works very hard. He takes clients to show them their properties. He's trying to book clients. He's trying to get people to sign on with them. But some way, somehow, his influence is stuck. He's always in the loop of, I'm going to show you the property. I'm going to explain the property to you. I want to show you how you are positioned for this property, how this property will help your family, how this property will help your investment, how this property, and real estate professionals like using the word diversification because it's a good thing in our market. So we use it a lot. This property is going to help you diversify your portfolio. But this particular professional is not growing in terms of influence. And this is because that professional is not strategically positioned. Now, strategic positioning is your ability to differentiate yourself from other professionals. What is your presence with within the real estate space? When your name is mentioned, what is it worth within the real estate space? There's an American marketing professional, he's dead, that I admire so much. His name is Al Reese. And one thing that he always says is that if you try to stand for everything, you stand for nothing at all. So, as a real estate professional, there's no way that we can place you. There's no specific place that we can say this individual does this and that is how he excels. You do not differentiate yourself. It's like walking into a forest. Now, has anybody been to a forest before?
Yes, I have. It's scary.
When you go into a forest, what you usually see is green, green trees all around. You see green trees all around. And that is how most real estate professionals are. Everybody is green. But as somebody that is strategically positioned, you can be the white amongst the green that we see all the time. When everything is green, you can be the white in it. And that is you intentionally differentiating yourself from other professionals. And you can do that by building an authority brand. So we'll go quickly into how you can build an authority brand to ensure that you are having a consistent unique value proposition all throughout. Now, before we get into building an authority brand, we have to understand that a lot of people perceive that being strategically positioned is having a LinkedIn account and always posting on LinkedIn. But being strategically positioned is not about tricks and tactics when it comes to social media. It's not about getting 10,000 followers on LinkedIn or 10,000 followers on Instagram when you don't understand the craft that you are doing. That is not strategic positioning. It is not also expensive marketing, like using drones for videography or using content creators for videography. I mean, for those of us in the space, we would understand that you can use drones to get quality videos, but without storytelling, those videos will just be admired by videographers who understand the work that got into it. Do we disagree?
Agree, highly agree.
Totally.
And that is how we must understand that strategic positioning is not just about using expensive things for your videography or for your marketing. It is rather more about intentional storytelling. Now, the third thing is customers. I know that the economy in Africa is tough, particularly in sub Saharan Africa, particularly in Ghana and my neighbors in Nigeria, my green brothers and sisters. However, you cannot serve everybody. And we'll come back to what Auri says. If you stand for everything, you stand for nothing. Strategic positioning is not serving every customer you see. You cannot one day decide that you serve diasporan people, and the next money you are serving students, and the next money you are serving investors. Choose a lane. And that is what goes into strategic positioning. It is not about having 10,000 contacts and saying that I have 10,000 contacts, so I have 10,000 possible leads, because those 10,000 contacts have not been segregated. So they fall within a generalized contact list and a generalized lead. But strategic positioning actually involves you segregating the customers that you may have and choose a particular set, two or three sets of people to serve. Now, after we have understood that strategic positioning is not about posting online every day, because I know that a lot of people may have heard be consistent, post every time, make sure you make videos of your property. Has anybody heard that?
Yes.
Apart from that, can we share can we share one more thing that we have heard when it comes to positioning in the real estate space? What are the things that you normally hear when it comes to positioning in the real estate space?
Go for events, comment on other people's posts.
Yes, that is very true. Go for events. Anybody else? It looks like only Jake
Focus on
and a few
sales.
people. Educate your audience. That is good. That is very good counsel. We are going to talk about it today. Go for event consistency. That is true. That is very true. But then building an authority brand goes beyond posting constantly on social media or going for events, because there's a strategic way that you go for events when it comes to the real estate space. Like networking that has been mentioned by Victor. You don't just network anyhow in the real estate space. You have to be strategic about the way you network and how you leverage on the network that you have. As we go into that, we'll understand why building an authority brand is important, even in networking, in educating your audience, in reading, particularly because you have to expand your knowledge. Now, the first thing that you have to do when it comes to building an authority brand is defining your authority domain. Defining your authority domain. When I speak about authority domain, I mean a particular section that you can be a student of and master, mastering the craft of a particular domain. You cannot be a real estate consultant, you cannot be a blockchain expert, you cannot be a property advisor. You need to define the particular domain that you want to build authority in. Is it blockchain real estate? Is it real estate investment trust? Is it luxury property? Is it diaspora investment? Is it green housing? What particular domain would you want to build your authority in? There are so many of them, and you have to define which particular one that you have to define, which particular one that you have to master your craft in, because you cannot have knowledge in all those things. And particularly, people follow people who teach them something new. I think this was said by Seth Godin. Seth Godin mentioned that people follow people who teach them something new. As such, you must define the particular area that you want to master in and build an authority. After you have done that, you have to develop your intellectual capital. Yes, you say you want to do blockchain real estate, AI and blockchain real estate, but you don't know anything about blockchain. When we speak about tokens, you are lost. Yet you say that you are building authority in blockchain real estate. How do you explain this to the audience that you are building? How do you position yourself for the right client when you don't have the intellectual capital? So, developing your intellectual capital is about being a student of the particular authority domain that you mentioned. It's about immersing yourself in research, deep conversations such as this. If you want to understand real estate, if you want to understand the trends in real estate, you register for programs such as this so that you can understand what is happening within the industry, ask your questions, and involve other professionals within it. That is what we call developing your intellectual capital. It's not just about the commissions, it's not just about the money, but it's about building your capital when it comes to the insights and expertise that you have in the field. Now, somebody mentioned it on this call. When you have defined your domain and you have developed your intellectual capital, the next thing that you have to do is to initiate market education. You know, there is a lot of information asymmetry in the real estate space. This has been proven by countless research that there isn't generalized information within the real estate space. And particularly in Africa, data is of essence. Nonetheless, we don't have data available to us easily. The real estate space is a heterogeneous market, meaning that a particular property in a particular space is different from that same property in a different space. You may have a luxury property in Lagos. I'm sure that luxury property in Lagos is going to be different from a luxury property in Dubai. It's going to be different from a luxury property in Accra. There is heterogeneity in the real estate space, meaning that data is not readily available when it comes to the real estate space, which is why you must educate the market on what goes on. Because this time you have learned what is happening, you have understood what is happening, you know the ins and outs of what is happening in the particular authority domain that you chose. The next thing you do is to educate the market. Don't always go and tell people to come and buy. Sometimes teach people, teach them about what is happening within the real estate space. And information asymmetry within the real estate space provides us with a rare opportunity to build a community that understands that we know what we are doing. The only way anybody can know that I can sew as a person is if I tell them and I show them that I can do it. So if I can build a house for you in 3 days, and I just sit somewhere and I say, I'm a magician, I can build a house for you in 3 days. Until I have started showing the process of building that house in 3 days, it's going to be hard to win people on my side. And then there is a concept. There was a paper once written by Mr. George Akerlof on the market of lemons. That paper spoke about owning market intelligence. Now, there are a lot of things in the market that people do not know about. When you set yourself apart as an individual who is going to educate the real estate space, the real estate market, players in the real estate market, both demand and supply side about this, you own the intelligence in the market. So gradually, people start quoting, let's say, Victor. People start quoting Victor according to Victor, and they are going to verify if what Victor said is really true. Today, I am sharing insights that I have read from different individuals, and that is because these individuals immersed themselves and wrote articles, wrote books, and decided to teach the general public. We may have bought some of those articles, but at the end of the day, the education happened. So the third step to being able to build an authority brand is to initiate market education, enlighten your target audience on key industry dynamics, own the intelligence within the market, make sure that you understand what you are doing and you are able to teach the people around you. And again, I'm going to talk about storytelling, because if I'm to go to a random person and say that according to the international valuation standards, the market value of your property using market rent as a basis of valuation commands a market rent or a market value of 10 million cedis at this particular time as of the date of valuation, and I use the cost method or the depreciated valuation method, I'm throwing away a lot of jargons within the person's brain. And it's going to be very difficult for the person to understand. But if I go to the person and I say that when there is any property, there are different ways that we are able to tell the particular value of the property. The property that you showed me in this instance is located in this area, and this location plays a very key role in what we do in the market because there is a school close to your property or there's an airport close to your property. It commands this kind of value. Without throwing jargons in the brain of my particular target audience, I have made them understand the process that I went through. And they may not have the expert knowledge that I have to be able to do the work that I did. But at the end of the day, they will understand the work that I did. And at any point in time, they will refer to my work when they have to make references with other people. And on the note of referral, we have building proof assets. You have to build proof assets. I have already talked about that particular realtor that works very hard. He's always going on property showings, yet he's at one particular space of influence. Why do we think so? Because people do not know that he is good at his job. If you understand the real estate space, let's say you understand blockchain real estate and you are not building anything, you are not showing us what you can do, we will not know that you can do it. Just as we are doing this particular academy, after you have gone through the process, you are going to share the insights that you learned, and you are going to be sharing it online within your network. You are going to be talking about it with other professionals. When you go for your lunch break and you are talking with your partner, you say, "Oh, I went for this academy. It was very insightful. The people that came," and that is how you keep talking about it. And as a professional, you build proof that you know the market, you understand the market. So you have to share client testimonials. You have to share reports. When we are learning about the three levels of influence, we mentioned that people in market authority, when they have understood the global and local trends in the real estate space, they translate that into reports. They translate that into articles. They translate that into books. They translate that into educative sessions such as this. And that is what you are supposed to do. Make sure that you are sharing reports. Make sure that you are sharing success story of people, because as individuals, we like to follow things that we can trust. Would you follow somebody that doesn't know how to drive? I want to hear from my audience. Or I'm a Ghanaian. Let me give a more practical example. I like the
No.
exclamation. Let me give a more practical example. I am Ghanaian. I have never been to Nigeria or South Africa or Kenya. And then I come to exactly make person no go other side. And I come to Nigeria for the first time. And I'm calling all the attendees of the blockchain academy. And I tell them, follow me to Lagos. I know the streets. I understand the corners. Oga, make I tell you, this street I know I'm well. We dey run the streets. Will you follow me? Exactly. You will not follow me because I do not know what is happening there. And I cannot show that I know the streets. And in that same way, for the people in the real estate market to know that you, Stephen, you, Jake, you, Eriolua, please correct me with the name. I don't want to butcher the name again. Eriolua. Eriolua. Anyways, while I wait for that correction, Eri. Okay, I'll stay with Eri. Eri, yes, thank you, Eri. So, for people in the real estate space to know that Jake or Stephen or Lucy or Victor or Eri understand the real estate space or they understand the particular authority domain that they chose, they must see proof. They must know that I really know the streets. They must know that I really run Lagos because I cannot be staying on the mainland and saying that I know another part of Nigeria. It does not happen like that. and you cannot follow a blind man. And that is how the real estate space happens. We do not follow blind men, we follow people that we understand. Now, those are four ways that you can build an authority brand. But again, we have to talk about your strategic visibility within the real estate. Now, you have gone through all these processes. How do you strategically position yourself to be visible to the right people? Now, there's a general thing. If you are not seen, you are unknown, meaning that the more time that you keep being unknown, the greater time that you lose resources, both in human capital, both in intellectual capital, both in business resources, and of course, financial resources. So we have to make sure that we are being positioned strategically for what we are doing. And some of the key ways that you can do that is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional space that a lot of people undermine, particularly for somebody that has built an authority brand. You need to tell us what you know in a way of educating your market, in a way of initiating market education to your people, in a way of owning market intelligence. And the LinkedIn is a great way to do that. Another way is master classes, such as this. Now, the good thing about master classes, it provides a platform so for knowledge sharing. I come, I learn, I pick something, I add to what I have, I share what I already have, and I go off better. That is one way that you can position yourself. But a lot of people will say that, oh, I don't have the resources to start a whole academy. I don't have the resources to create an event from start. Use what you have and start from there. You have the internet, you have two or three friends, you have 11 knowledge seeking individuals. Start with those individuals and do it for those few people. Create your own event. Don't only go for events. Create your own event. Share the knowledge you have. Call other professionals on board. The more you are collaborating, you tap into the network of those people. You learn from them and it positions you very well. Right, right. I love the fact that you are taking notes. That is very good because we are building authority brands after this session. Make sure that you tap into the networks of other people, not just going for events where you exchange business cards and then you don't have a relationship afterwards. How about when you identify these people, you reach out to them? I met Joe at an event and we had a conversation. Luckily, the conversation we had was not even about real estate. The conversation we had was about Toastmasters because I was vice president of Toastmasters at that time. So we had a conversation about Toastmasters and we started sharing resources. We have learned from each other for quite a long time. And today I am here on his company's session teaching people what I know. That is
You
what you
guys
do
should
when
give a round of applause now.
yes, yes, yes. Kudos to you, Joe, on that. Right. Now, apart from creating master classes and creating your own event, you can look at property seminars. We have already mentioned that there's information asymmetry in the market. How about you create a seminar? It can be an online seminar, a 1 day event. Make sure you come and share value to the people and get people to share what they learned. Afterwards, you can have people sharing their testimonial. But at every point in time, what you are sharing to the people must answer questions that they have in their heads. Before I started the session, everybody said they have heard about branding. They told me what they had heard about branding. But what I'm doing right now is moving one step more than just the normal branding. So we know about branding, how people perceive you. But now we are learning about how you make people intentionally recognize you as the go-to person within the market. That is one step addition to what already exists within the space. So you can use property seminars, you can use investment webinars, depending on the kind of real estate space that you are dealing in. You can also use media interviews. You can use media interviews. You can use articles. Like I mentioned, market authorities are able to interpret the trends within the market and report on them. So you can use articles. You can use press releases. You can use press releases as well. One very key thing that we have to take note is that you cannot build an authority brand when you are person B online and person D offline. What do I mean? You may visit my social media account and you see that I have written real estate investment experts on my profile. Now, because I am intrigued by that, I pick your socials and I reach out to you. And when I start the conversation, I realize that this person is not even an enthusiast because the person doesn't even understand what REITs are. And that is the most basic thing of real estate investment. The person does not understand property. The person does not understand the person does not understand key things in the market. So you have to make sure that your reputation online is the same as your reputation offline. And earlier on I mentioned that the real estate market thrives on relationships. You cannot be an expert and treat people as though they were no humans. You have to treat people with respect. You have to treat people with understanding. You have to treat people like you would want to be treated within the space. And that also goes into strategic visibility. Because I can say that this person is very good when it comes to property, but the person has no manners. And that is a particular perception that I'm creating in the minds of the people. Meaning that the kind of reputation that you have online must be equal to the reputation you have offline. You must have a consistent brand on your social media, on your business card, in your business dealing, in everything that you do. That is one key thing we have to know when it comes to strategic positioning. Are there any questions for me? I have spoken on ending.
Wow, 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 wow. Please, if you have questions, let's drop it in the comment section. Me, I see that everything will be so much value. That's quite packed.
So while we wait for the questions, I'm going to speak about the final thing, which I believe most real estate professionals don't do. It's about positioning yourself for a specific market. Positioning yourself for a specific market. Now, within the space, we have diasporans, we have citizens, indigents, we have investors, we have institutional buyers, we have students, we have travelers. Which of them are you serving? You may define an authority domain, but an authority domain may relate to two or more people. Which of them are you serving? You must be clear on the kind of people that you are serving in order to be able to serve them very well. That way, your research is very targeted. And the more you know the people you are serving, the better that you can serve them. Before I came for this event, I went to moderate a tech event for somebody. And then at that tech event, one of the speakers mentioned that your solution to a problem must not make sense to you alone all the time. So I was very intrigued by that. After the session, I asked this speaker, and she was saying that most of the time we crop solutions for people that make sense to us on paper without understanding the needs of the people. It is the same in the real estate space. If you're unable to identify the specific set of people that you are serving, you would not know the particular problems of those people and how to shape the solutions you have to fit those people. So the final thing that I'll talk about is to craft a particular set of people that you are serving with your authority domain. And then we must also take note that within the real estate space, we sell emotions. We do not sell just properties. We sell prestige. We don't just sell features. We sell belonging. We don't just sell pieces of land. So as you go about in your dealings as a realtor, seeking to build an authority brand and position yourself as a high value realtor, make sure that you sell to the people the emotions that make them come back to you. And that emotion is trust. That particular emotion is trust. Like we have established on this call a lot of times. As a Ghanaian who has never been to Nigeria, if I come to you and I say I run the streets of Lagos, you are not going to believe me because you cannot trust that I have done that. In the same way, you have to sell to the people that you are serving prestige. You have to sell to them security. You have to sell to them belongingness. You have to sell to them luxury, not just properties and pieces of land. And at the core of that is how you are able to make them trust you in everything that you are doing. This is the very last end of the presentation. Thank you very much. I will take questions now.
Wow, 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 that was massive. W in the chat, W value in the chat. That was massive. So please let's start dropping questions. If you have any questions, now is the time. Anything in your mind, drop it. Anything relating to the session, anything relating to branding in your field, your career, now is the time to drop it. Right? So if you have any questions, you can either
I have a
unmute and
question.
speak. Okay, great. That's great. That's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You
So
can go
first
on.
of all, I want to say thank you so much, Tracy. It was, as you were speaking, so many things that were not clear in my mind got clearer, and I also got a number of ideas to also apply. Very much appreciate. So, for example, when you talk about hosting events, I was saying aside this academy that we are doing, for those of us on the call, we are organizing a conference in July. It's gonna be free, totally free, and it's gonna be exciting. We won't have gifts for all attendees as well. We are not certain here, but we hope that we could bring Tracy to come to Nigeria, even if it's for once. So, so
Let's see how it
that
goes.
yeah. So also we have another event. In fact, the event for November is the major event. The July event is more for realtors, while the November event is the main one. We have real estate developers coming, blockchain experts, and virtual reality professionals as well. Even well, you guys will get all the information that is required for this event. So all of this is our process of building authority. My question now, I know that there's someone here that does multiple things. Yes, like I do so many things. Let me give myself an example. Although I thought of a solution, but I've not taken out time to apply it. But I really want clarity as well. I'm head of sales at an agro real estate company. Yeah, aside pushing my blockchain, my knowledge on blockchain real estate, I talk about agro real estate. Aside that, I talk about sales. Okay, let me say I talk about real estate sales a lot on my platform. So, what would you advise someone? Do you think that I should continue doing everything on my single page, or I should create different page, or just choose one and let it only be that I talk about? I would really like clarity on that.
Okay. Now, there's a thing that I always use as an example when I'm explaining this to people. A human being is like a tree. You know, in the Bible, God talks about how He is the vine. So we are like a tree, and there are branches to every tree. Even a single leaf has particular lines that link to the leaf. When I was a child, I really enjoyed photosynthesis. So I learned about it very well. When you check a leaf, there are particular lines that connect to the leaf. And that is how the human brain is. Your ability to study and master different things is what sets you apart. So, Joe, what I'm going to say first of all is you don't have to dismiss all the other things that you do. You are the head as the human being, and then you have body parts. Or should I say, you are the tree and you have branches. So, of your branches, you have sales, you have agro real estate, you have blockchain. Now,
Real
these three
estate,
things,
blockchain real estate.
yeah, blockchain real estate. These three things, if you study closely, are not far off. You are not doing human biology and agriculture and marketing. The three things that you talk about are not far off. So, one thing that you can do is to start seeing them as branches of a single tree, not just different trees within the space. They are branches of one tree that are interconnected to one source, and that one source is you. Now, as the source, how do you connect these three things? Storytelling. There is a need in sales, there is a need in blockchain real estate, and there is a need in agro real estate. You can talk about all these three things without necessarily executing one, but you have to talk about them in a way that connects to each other. Because in sales, you need the skills and knowledge in sales to do agro real estate, to even do blockchain real estate. You need the understanding in blockchain real estate because you have to be very analytical. You have to be able to read trends, to be able to make decision when it comes to sales. So these things are interconnected to each other. So the first thing I'll tell you to do is that start seeing them as branches of a tree. And then start finding a central point that you can connect these things to. Even if they were seemingly unrelated interests or seemingly unrelated things that you do, you can still connect the three things together because there's never anything like wasted knowledge. And when it comes to the social media front or your various platforms, you don't have to talk about a particular thing. You don't have to talk about I am a multi-potentialite. Joe, you know that I do speaking. You know that I love dancing, even though I'm bad at it. You know that I do project management.
We've not seen your dance video. Please, let's see it.
When I come to Nigeria, you see my dance video. But before you can see it, you must all attend the conference that they are attending, they are organizing. It's a free conference. So if you come, you may be able to see my dance video. Anyways, these three things that I do, these three things that I do are not very separate from each other, but I find a way to connect each of them together. And that is what you can do. You can decide when it comes to the social media part, you can build a social media strategy. So, this is free advice, free consulting for anybody on the call. You can build your strategy based on three social media blocks. So, you can decide that these are the three things that I'll talk about. Let's say on Monday every week, I'll talk about blockchain real estate. On Tuesday, I'll talk about agro real estate. On Friday, I'll talk about sales. You can talk about these three things and you will find audience for all the three things that you do. I have people in my community that know me to be a corporate event host. I have people in my community that know me to be a business presentation trainer. So if they need to prepare somebody for an international pitch, they will call me because I can do that. Another person would call me because they want to manage a project. Another person will call me because they want to do an impact project. Another person will call me because they are doing something in women empowerment. Those are different branches of me, and I have followers in all those different branches. So as you continue to build, you start to be recognized for the three areas that you excel at. I hope this answers your question.
Absolutely. And as you were speaking, I found out that that's what I'm actually doing because since I didn't think on how to solve it, I was just doing everything and it actually connects truly, truly. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Now there's a question from Solomon. He says, what advice would you give to somebody who is into real estate, lands and properties, but currently works in the hospitality industry? Solomon, I'm going to assume that you mean you have interest in real estate, but you work in the hospitality industry. I think you would have to pick something from what I just told you. These industries are not particularly um, different from each other. But as you are already working in the hospitality space, one thing that you could do is that just as you're on this call, learn about real estate, learn about the things that we do in real estate, connect to people in the real estate space, and try to understand the things that happen within the real estate space. So, not just saying, I am an enthusiast of real estate, but as you are looking to go into it, you have to continually seek knowledge. You have to continually seek knowledge. You have to continually seek knowledge within the field that you want to grow inside. Solomon, have I answered your question?
Yes, you have. Thank you.
Okay, I have one more question from. Please forgive me. I cannot pronounce the name and I don't want to butcher anybody's name again.
So it's Mo, so
Mode.
Mo. Yeah.
Mode. Okay.
So he
Mode.
says that okay, you can go on, man, go on.
Your question is, can't one serve more than one audience? Like you mentioned in the service of citizens and diaspora. Now, when it comes to service, particularly, let's say you are in sales, you can sell to the people in your country and you can serve to diasporans. However, the disadvantage in that is you may have divided attention when it comes to building your potential and capacity in those people. Because the way you deal with clients in your country is different from the way you deal with clients in the diaspora. But it is not set in stone. So you may progress in your career. Let's say you started real estate in Nigeria, and naturally, you would be serving the people of Nigeria when you started real estate. But you have connected with other people in places like Ghana, in places like Dubai, in places like China, and they start getting interest in that. You will not say, because I am serving citizens, I am not ready to progress. The idea of serving more than one audience must come from a place of progression in your career space. So you have to grow. You can't stay at one point at every time. You have to grow. You can start with serving students, so providing students hostels, providing student accommodation. But as you grow, you realize that, oh, I can actually serve people who are traveling with Airbnb services. So you progress within the field. But when you are starting, you cannot say, me, I serve students, I serve diasporans, I serve um, businesses. That is going to create confusion because you cannot build capacity in a particular field. Like the branches of the tree, each of the branches must be watered because you cannot have one part of the tree brown, another part of the tree green. So you can serve different audiences as you progress. But in the beginning, it is not advisable to do all those together because you are looking to grow within the field. Mode, I hope I've answered your question.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. So are we still here? Please let's drop some reactions and appreciations if we have been getting value. Now, I've got a lot of value. I've gotten a lot of value, both the one I'm going to be incorporating into my own career and profession. Because a lot of times now, one of them is being everywhere. You need to strategically reach out whatever it is you're doing so that people will know that this is what you are focused on. Thank you so much, Miss Tracy. You really shared massive values with us tonight. So, guys, is that all the questions? Nobody has questions. If you have any questions or whatever it is, now is the time. You can drop it or you. Okay. We have a message, a question from Lucy Ijoma. She said, oh, "What advice would you give to anyone who find it difficult to convert real estate prospects into actual buyers of property or land. I don't know if you got that, man.
Okay. Now, when it comes to converting lease into actual buyers, there may be a lot of contributing factors. There may be a lot of contribution factors. And in the real estate space, one key thing is our negotiation. You show somebody a property or a land, the person shows interest in the land, and then you mention the price, let's say 1 million naira, and all of a sudden the person say, ah, madam, now this one are too expensive. Make you reduce some. Say, boss, how much you want me reduce? And this one na 1 million property. Oh. It be 2 million, sir. I just the one give her 1 million because I dey like your matter. That is where we make the mistake. Most of the time, we negotiate from a place of price instead of value. That is one key mistake that most real estate professionals make. There are other factors that causes people to not convert themselves from leads or prospects into actual buyers. But one of the key things is negotiation. So, one thing that I would say is let's learn about negotiation. There's a particular man, never split the difference. It's on negotiation. I've forgotten the person that wrote the book. Never split the difference. But we can search for it. It's a very good book. I have read it about 2 times, and I added it to my set of books to read again this year because it's a very, very good book. Never split the difference. It teaches about negotiation from a point of strength and value instead of a financial point. Because when honestly, when you are negotiating with a client and then he says, and the person says the price is expensive, and say, Oga, how much you won't pay? At that very point, you are letting the person understand that I can talk this down. And eventually, when you are not able to talk the price down, the person walks away. But the person says, oh, this property is expensive. You say, this property has a gated community that is going to protect your family. It has a playground for the kids. The neighborhood is very safe. There's a school closer that has certifications in training students. The school has been good in providing well behaved. Yes, that is the book. Thank you very much, Jake. Never Split the Difference by Christopher Voss. Excellent book. You can listen to his TEDx talks on that. Very, very good book. Anyways, back to what I was saying. When you talk about the the features in the property, in the mind of the prospect, he wants the end. You have painted a particular picture for the person. You are telling the person, my kids will have a community. My family is going to be safe. I will not be disturbed. I'll have quality people to network with. In their head, they already want the end game. So, how they will start thinking about how they will get to the end game instead of from a price of 1 million naira. They'll start thinking, but will I get a safer place for my kids when I go to the option B? Maybe this agent is giving me a cheaper price, but would they give me security? Would they give me a good network of people? That is one of the key ways that we can start converting people. Thank you very much, Lucy. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Before other persons might ask questions, I just want to say one thing that a number of us will be asking is how do I apply this as plotting realtor? You should be answering that question from the things Tracy has been saying. Have you answered the question she asked in the beginning? Authority building. Are you a transactional person? Are you a advisor? And are you on your way to building authority? And I believe the rest of our session give very clear process on how to build authority. Because most of us that missed Thursday session, I talked about what we are doing. We are actually building an entire software that will not require realtors in the long run. However, what will save realtors and make them still relevant in the market? Okay, let me ask this now. If you if you had a solution or a software that you know can sell any property at a predictable time, if it's 1 month, you bring that property within 1 month, that property will be sold, you get your money. Are you sure that there will be need for realtors? And if that time can be shortened over time to 1 week, predictably, that property is sold. To 1 day, you bring a property, regardless of the amount you want to sell it, in 1 day it is sold. Do you think that realtors will still be needed in the market? So the question, I'm giving the exact solution that we are providing through Blockchain Realtor Africa. So the question now is, what will make you relevant is you as an individual building that skill, that process. And this session that Tracy took is very important, because if you do not build your brand and if you do not build yourself as an authority, when AI and blockchain is properly adopted in the real estate market, you will fade out. You will absolutely fade out. So this may not talk about the tools yet. We have other speakers that will talk about the tools that you individually you can start using and start building to keep yourself relevant in the industry. But aside tools, aside the properties, or maybe some of us are not into real estate, how do you build this authority? Is what we have done today. So it's one thing to learn and let us clap, let us ask questions and be excited, and it's another thing to apply entirely. So I do hope that aside coming for the session, we I believe a number of us took notes. We visit our notes, but aside visiting our notes, we apply them, and aside applying, we decide to become authorities in the application. So over to you, Mr. Jake. Thank you once again, Tracy.
Thank you very much, Joe. I think there are no more questions for me.
Yes, you people should allow Tracy to go and rest. She has tried. Let's appreciate. Let's
Yeah,
appreciate.
that's
Ah,
absolutely, absolutely true. Thank you so, so much, Tracy. It's great to have you here today, and you really, really have, you know, changed our mindset about branding. A lot of us, speaking for myself, we just think it's about putting ourselves out there. Like you said, it's not about posting on the properties, but just putting yourself out there. It's building an authority, and you broke it down for us. Thank you so much. Somebody said, Stevie said, we'll be
They'll
waiting
be
for your
waiting for my
dancing
dancing video.
video.
Please make sure you register for the conference. So long life learning is very important. So register for the conference. Joe will show you my dancing video when you register for the conference. But that being said, I would like us to drop our comments about the session in the chat box. Just drop your comment on the session in the chat box. It could be what you learned, how the presentation went. Please drop it in the chat box so that the organizers can use that to show that this is what they are doing. We have started building our proof assets. We have started building our
Absolutely.
proof assets.
All right. So, what stood out for you in this session? What stood out for you? If you know something stood out for you or something you learned, right, drop it in the comment section.
I would like to add is, what's the one thing you are going to apply from today? Because you shared a lot of very important points. So which one among them, or two, have you made up your mind that I'm going to start applying from today? Okay, I believe that a number of persons are typing so that we do not wait. Just in case you are typing and the meeting ends, you can also type in the WhatsApp community that we all belong to, so we can see how the screenshots from there. Okay, Stephen is saying something. Before we reach Stephen's comment, Mr. Jake, I want to suggest network in the group. Network in the group. We have people from different countries. Network and organize trainings, maybe investment trainings across your social media platform from the networks you build. All those things will also help you build your authority over time. All right, Mr. Jake, over to you.
All right, so that's what Mr. Victor said. Can we reach out to you for mentorship? I would love to learn more. Thank you so much. Yes, so that's why, on your screen you can see the information. If you are referring to Miss Tracy, or you're talking about Miss Tracy, her information is there, her email is there, her number is there. You could reach out to her, WhatsApp or via email, right? And then again, you can also reach out to any of the admins in the group you joined in right, for any information that you need. You'll be directed on what's, the right steps to do about whatever it is that you seek. Justina said, I learned how to position myself as an authority. I will do better on my value and also learn to communicate value to clients instead of price. Wow, yes, that's great. Uh Christiana said, I will go back to my drawing board because she talked about building isn't just first building on a social media space or posting. Wow. So I need to re-listen. Sir, will there be recording available? All right. So there will be a recording available. However, it's going to be shared when it's listed or when it's posted. It's going to be shared in the group, wherever group you joined in from. So, so everybody, thank you so much. Time is fast spent. Thank you everybody for joining. Remember that this is just the beginning of this session, of this academy. It is an 8 weeks intensive session, and this is just week one, right? We still have a lot of other speakers that are going to be sharing with us. They're going to be joining us. They're going to be sharing massive value with us from next week. So what you want to do is you want to ensure that you show up early and you show up ready. You don't just show up early, you show up ready to get as much value as you can. Thank you so much once again, Ms. Tracy. Really appreciate your time today and the value that you've shared with us. It's not taken for granted. Right, so before we call it a day, Mr. Joe, does anybody have anything they want to share, contributions, suggestions before we wrap it up for the day? Yeah, so Mr. Joe just said that this Thursday he will be speaking on blockchain foundation and its application to real estate. I want to share that flyer, however, finding it difficult to navigate through my phone while I'm here. But I'm going to share it on the
So
group so we know.
I would say our time is fast spent. We're supposed to not exceed 8:15 at most. So we can call it a day, and everyone can review and revisit the recording later.
All right, thank you,
Once again,
everybody.
thank you
So,
so much, Tracy. As I sent you some of the screenshots of these testimonials too. Fantastic delivery. Thank you.
thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I will appreciate one thing. I have a request from everybody here, right? The same way you've dropped here your reviews, what you've learned. I'd appreciate it if you can do
Let's
the same
continue. We
thing
don't want to
on
go.
the WhatsApp group. We have to go. I'd appreciate it if you can do the same thing. Drop your reviews, everything you've learned on the WhatsApp group. A lot of people missed out on this session today. So let's, pepper them. Let's also give them some insight that we've learned so that the next session they will not miss it. Right. So I'd appreciate it if everyone here can drop on the group what you've learned. Just share it on the group. Drop your lessons, drop your questions, drop everything on the group. Let's make it very, very engaging and so people can see, right? So we can encourage other people as well to ensure they don't miss out. So thank you, everybody. Okay. So if you guys are looking at how to join, how to get in touch with Miss Tracy on LinkedIn, it is, if you check the chat box, just drop her name. It is Tracy ASAMOAH on LinkedIn and underscore d.real.tracy on Instagram. So thank you everybody once again. Let me go quickly and follow up. All right, thank you everybody once again. So we are going to call it a day. So this session is going to be ending in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you everybody. You have an amazing rest of your evening. Bye. And have a great weekend.